we spend so much time focused on the wedding that we forget about the marriage. And some persons, the trouble starts on the honeymoon.
Hey you guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Nicola Land, and we are so excited to be back with you. Listen, we have new people on board, but let me just reintroduce our team. Today we are starting our new series on After You Say I Do, and I am so delighted to welcome Daniel. We could call him Danny, and he's gonna be starting off our series with us today. And we're talking about After You Say I Do. What do you expect? Welcome, Danny.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just shoot straight into the questions. So, Daniel, obviously, before you got married, Daniel is married. This is why we're doing After You Say I Do with Daniel. So, obviously, before you got married, there must have been some expectations in your mind as to what you thought marriage was going to be like, or like you had some sort of thought. What was that? What did you think of marriage, and what did you think it was going to be like when you were single?
When I was single, I always considered marriage to be a very serious thing, and of course, I should be deliberate in my actions when it comes to marriage. But I had this notion also that marriage would be like an easy or smooth going stream. You get on board the stream, sit in the tube, and of course, it just goes down smoothly. I remember a few brothers, my uncle namely and another brother, senior brother, who we married for almost 30 years, both of them, said to me, "Man, I can take my time to get married. Don't rush it, you know." And I would say to myself, "Man, these brothers are married. They married long time, and they want to hinder a young man like me from getting married." And it wasn't until I got into marriage I realized what they meant. Not that marriage is bad. Don't get me wrong. Marriage is a very good thing, but it is what you make it. So there's a lot of work involved in marriage: forgiveness, long suffering, being willing to work with the other party to make things work. And that's something that we have to be aware of. So it's not going to be an easy stream where you sit on the tube and let it float down the stream. If you have your mindset as the fairy tale goes, Rapunzel met the prince and is happily ever after. Snow White met the prince and is happily ever after. Don't expect it's going to be that way. There's no happily ever after. Happily ever after, you are in control of it, and you have to make it work.
Thank you very much for that, Daniel. I think you sort of jumped into the second question which I was going to ask, and that is, what is the reality of marriage? Because as a single person, I'm coming with all of these expectations, and obviously, social media has painted a picture in my mind as to what I should expect from marriage and everything else. But then, what is the reality that I should really? What is the reality that I should expect from marriage?
Well, as I was saying earlier, the reality is that marriage is what you make it. So apart from before getting married, getting the right spouse or being the right spouse also. So it's both ways. I've heard somebody said once that to a couple that you divorced the person you married. And what he meant by that was basically you did not consider all of the things that make the person who they are. For example, this person married somebody who was a musician. And of course, a musician will be out on the road for 6, 8, 10 months a year. And she never considered that, he'd be away from home for so long. So after a while or years after of getting that, being away from home for over and over again, she now had enough of it. So he said to her, "You married a person, you divorced the person you married, because basically you were so quick in getting married, in the love, in the butterflies, you didn't consider that this is a musician and that he'll be away from home for this amount of time, or maybe I'll have to change my lifestyle to suit him." So that's why I say being the right person is very, very important. And of course, marrying the right person, it has to be you as an individual. So that's why we have the compatibility, or as the Bible calls it, being equally yoked. So not just in terms of belief, in terms of religious belief, but in terms of your personality and everything else that comes in play with you as an individual. So once you get that right, I think it makes it a lot easier. But even if you have that right, doesn't mean that you're going to have everything smooth. The same brother I'm talking about, his name is Brother Louis. He said to me, expect as soon as you get off your honeymoon, the trouble starts. And I often made fun of what you're saying, but it's true. As soon as you got off the honeymoon, and some persons the trouble starts on the honeymoon. When I say trouble, I mean like different little challenges, or you have a little something upset about probably your wife wanted you to wear that color shirt and you wanted to wear that color shirt instead, and just simple little things that brings about issues among in marriage. So he said that as soon as you get home after the honeymoon, and that is so true. Once you get home and now you, of course, you have the dishes to wash, the house to sweep, the bills to pay, everything. Of course, the honeymoon is gone, the wedding is gone. It's now time to focus on the marriage. And in mentioning that, I think a lot of us we spend so much time focused on the wedding that we forget about the marriage, which is where the most focus needs to be made. That's where you have to place the emphasis, because the marriage is going to be for a lifetime, whilst the wedding is only for a few hours in that one day. And we make so much effort after the wedding. The right color shoes, right color clothing, the colors for the wedding, the food, who's going to be the photographer, who's going to be the conductor, who's going to be my preacher, and the list goes on. How I'm going to look, what hairstyle I'm going to take. I'm going to go to the barber shop and all these things. Very, very important things, of course. Don't get me wrong. But the most important, which is of course the marriage, is going to be 100, not even 100, probably a few thousand times more or longer, not just more, but a few thousand times longer than the wedding. We make so much emphasis, we place so much emphasis on the wedding, and we forget that the marriage is a lot longer, and that's where the emphasis is to be placed. Let's ensure we get this right, and of course we are both persons who are able to forgive, who are able to resolve conflict, who are able to trust, who are able to love each other in spite of what it is, and so on. That will make the marriage work. Yeah, so that's what it is, basically, in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Oh wow, you just covered everything in a nut. You actually covered everything in that nutshell. Thank you very much. And I like that you didn't make marriage look bad in your nutshell. I love that marriage still looks so beautiful, even as you described it, and yet you brought out the realities that, hey, this is not always gonna be smooth sailing. You have to put in the work. But even more importantly, you have to put in the work. You have to enter it right. You have to put in the work before you even enter marriage. By choosing the right partner. So thank you, Daniel. Do not stress. So many important points I could take away from this. Choose the right partner. Do not stress so much on the wedding, but think about the marriage. Problems are gonna come. How are you gonna deal with it? Be a problem solver. Be a forgiving person. Daniel, thank you very much. Thank you for joining Nicolaland, and thank you for sharing with us. We are very, very grateful. Those of you who have not subscribed, those of you who have not joined Nicolaland, listen. Go ahead and do that now. Join, like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We are right here. And I will continue sharing information with you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.